This is the Morning Swim Show for Monday, February 20th, 2012. I'm your host, Peter Busch, and last week, Hall of Fame swimmer John Naber was in our neck of the woods, so he stopped by the Swimming World TV studios to talk a little shop. Here's the interview. John, it's great to have you in Phoenix. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Glad to be here.
What brings you here to Arizona?
You know, I was invited to address a meeting of U.S. Airways management just down the street at the Scottsdale Conference and Resort, and it's a great chance to stop by Swimming World TV.
So what does a former Olympic gold medalist teach airline executives?
You know, I like to talk about something I call the gold medal process. There's 8 steps that I took as a competitive athlete to make my dreams come true. I've interviewed hundreds of other Olympians, and pretty much every one of them has taken those same 8 steps, and so I share the steps with the audiences, and I remind them of Olympic stories, not only my own, but some that they may be a little bit more familiar with, and I try to make the audience feel like they can be Olympic competitive, gold medal performance producing athletes in their own particular line of work.
So that kind of goes back to one of the core virtues that people say about swimming. It teaches you long-term
life skills.
You know how to work hard, dedication, perseverance. You know how to wake up early in the morning and accomplish something before most people are out of bed. Do you find that even if you didn't become an Olympic swimmer, those virtues stay true throughout your life?
Absolutely. Anybody who tries to reach a goal and goes through these 8 steps, whether they reach the goal or not, the 8 steps still work, and they work in virtually any field. So that's what I talk about. And the fundamental underlying truth is the concept of delayed gratification. I remember taking a root beer bottle when I returned from Europe, living there for 7 years. We went down to the store, got a root beer bottle, and on the neck of the bottle were 4 words that said, if you're not willing to pay the price in advance, you don't deserve to enjoy the flavor. You're probably too young to remember the words, but they were no deposit, no return. And that changed the way I looked at work, and no longer it's a sacrifice or a punishment. It now becomes an investment in the delayed gratification that sport teaches us. You can go to the restaurant, you don't get the check till after you've enjoyed dessert, but in sport, you pay the price in advance. Otherwise, there is no dessert.
Very interesting. You still swimming at all?
A little bit. Yeah, 2 or 3 times a week.
Everybody's doing a comeback these days. How about you?
Not a chance. Not a chance. I have no competitive desires. I don't want to compete in Masters. I might have thought about joining a team relay just to round it out, but the competitive fires aren't there. But I do love the feeling of moving across the surface of the water. It's a quiet, peaceful time for me. It's good exercise, and I'm not a land mammal. I don't do so well on bicycles or Stairmasters, but in the water, I get a good workout.
I think we're going to have a fascinating year in swimming. This Olympics is going to be kind of the culmination of a great generation of American swimmers, perhaps the greatest since you were in your heyday, you and guys like Mark Spitz. I mean, this is Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte. Phelps' last hurrah. I think it's going to be amazing to watch them close out their careers while seeing a crop of new young stars come in.
Well, that's the normal way in sport. That you don't get to be king forever. You get to be king in sport as long as you keep winning. And, the ravages of time affect us all. To me, the thing that's most impressive about Michael Phelps is that because of his earlier success, he has hundreds of opportunities to do cocktail parties and speeches and commercials and stuff that would otherwise take him away from his training. And yet he still remains very competitive, very focused. He still works very hard in the pool as if he has something still to prove. And that's what's so impressive about his career, 4 Olympiads, and still just as aggressive as he ever was.
I know it's not unique to swimmers. Certainly old football players or basketball players probably look at the players today and wish that they had the same sort of commercial opportunities that you have. I
have a different read on that. I came from the amateur era where there was no money allowed. I couldn't even donate any winnings to charity without losing my eligibility. And at the time, people were teasing us about that. The word amateur was in the Olympic code. You had to be an amateur athlete, and you couldn't make money. I don't like the current definition of the word amateur. You wouldn't go see an amateur dentist, would you? The word amateur implies less than really good, but the word amateur takes its root from the word love, amo amasamat. I love to swim. I love to collect coins. I love to collect stamps. Those are amateurs in the truest sense of the word, that they would be willing to swim even if they didn't get paid. Whereas today in professional sports, if you don't get paid enough, you don't compete. You go on strike. Well, I like the memory of the athletes who just love to swim, and I'd still believe that Ryan Lochte and Janet Evans will swim even if there's no money involved, because they just love the feeling of competing. They love the way their body feels, and it's a good thing. So as long as the love stays in the sport, you know, I don't worry about the money, but as soon as the money pushes the love out of the sport, then we have a problem.
Well, the nostalgia is noble, but do you believe your career would have gone longer in others had there been more opportunity to do it as a career?
Yeah, longer probably, better, more enjoyable. I don't know. I can't say. It didn't happen to me. It's possible. Very few swimmers competed in more than one Olympic Games in the amateur era. They couldn't afford to. They had to get a job. When your college scholarship expires, you got to pay the rent somehow.
We're on the edge of a topic that fascinates me, and it involves kind of the young superstar in American swimming right now, Missy Franklin, who's only a junior in high school and has said repeatedly that she wants that college experience, even though there are certainly opportunities right now for her to go pro and make a decent living at it. The way I see it is, you don't realize until you become an adult and maybe have a family how difficult it can be to make decent money in this world. So while it's very refreshing and idealistic that she wants to go to college and have that opportunity, because it is a once-in-a-life opportunity, you just wonder if she understands that this is perhaps the best chance she'll ever have to make a lot of money.
I'm going to give you a different read on that. Not because I'm being nostalgic and old fogey, but I can quote some stories that'll support this. Kristine Quance was the top individual medley specialist in the world in 1996. In the preliminary heats of the Olympic trials, she gets disqualified in her best event to win individual gold. She still makes the team as a breaststroker on the medley relay. The relay goes on to win gold, but because she didn't win an individual medal, she didn't really have the commercial opportunities that might have come to some Olympic champions. So she remained amateur, returned to USC for her senior year of competition, and led the Trojans to a national team title. She said she would much rather have had that collegiate experience leading the team to a title than making the money she could have, or even winning an individual gold medal at the Olympics. That was her opinion in 1996. Everyone's entitled to their own choice. I actually sent a message to Missy Franklin through Mike Unger a couple of weeks ago, trying to applaud her decision, because she clearly values that experience more than the money. And one could also argue that nowadays, when you can make 3 or 4 Olympics, she can make money after she graduates from college. I admire her choice.
I admire it too, for the record. I just think that...
you think she'll regret it?
I think that she's only going to swim in college for 2 years and then decide, okay, I've had the college experience, now I'm going to cash in. Like Amanda Beer did, and Amanda will tell you that I think it was the best decision I ever made.
And that's their choice.
I agree. Missy, do what you will. I'm just a talking head. But, okay, so back to current wave of swimming right now. What are you most excited to see in London this summer? Is it, Phelps and his farewell tour, or do you think there's something else that will be even more incredible for viewers?
There's always going to be something incredible at the Olympics. The U.S. Olympic Committee had their branding phrase, "Amazing awaits." That's something amazing. We don't know in advance what it's going to be, but it's going to be amazing, and I'm sure that that's going to be the case. I just found out recently that I will be going to London to work the radio broadcast, so I will be on the pool deck, and I look forward to seeing what's going to happen there. And I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be great. A couple of stories I do want to watch. I want to see Michael Phelps win his 3rd medal in London, because that will make him the highest decorated medalist in Olympic history. And he's not yet that. There was a gymnast who's got 18 medals, and Phelps has 16 so far, so he needs 3 more to win to take that title. That'll be thrilling to watch. To see Missy perform on the world stage will be great. I love that she is such a likable individual. She
is fantastic.
Yeah, she is the kind of person you not only want to see win, but you want your kids to grow up to be just like her. And we love that about swimming. I stand in front of audiences and I say, if your daughter were to come home next week and say she's going on a date, would you rather she go on a date with an Olympian or with a member of the NBA? There's more money in the NBA, there's more notoriety in the NBA, but where would you rather see your daughter go? The Olympic brand, and certainly the Olympic swimming brand, is really fantastic. That they're not just excellent performers, they're just excellent people.
I am curious to see what Lochte will choose to do, how ambitious he's going to get. Because I think he really wants to try and match Phelps from Beijing, but I've never gotten the sense from speaking with him that he's completely convinced inside that he can do it. And I think he's going to shy away from that. What do you think?
You know, I don't know Ryan well enough to predict what he will do. This is a difficult challenge, but Ryan has already got some gold medals. He knows what it's like to win at the world stage. They say that great swimmers, all swimmers love to win. Great swimmers hate to lose. And for a swimmer to choose to add another event on their Olympic program, they are risking losing races that they otherwise might win. And that to me is a real measure of an athlete's willingness to take the risk and confidence in themselves.
I guess we saw in Beijing how impossible it is to really predict these things, because some would argue that Phelps was handed a couple of those events, that they didn't necessarily win them. The relay with Lezak's amazing comeback and Cavich's 100 fly finish, that, you know, he didn't win them, they lost them. But history will only remember that he won 8 gold medals.
The average viewer doesn't remember the specific details. You can say, yeah, Phelps was fortunate to have Jason on anchor the relay. He was unfortunate to have his goggles filled with water in the 200 fly. And yet, he found a way to get to the wall first.
He could have lost his suit and he would have won the 200 fly.
Probably. Probably.
College swimming, you were one of the most decorated collegiate swimmers of all time. College swimming in itself, I guess I'm happy that swimming has stayed above the fray, it seems like. I know there's reasons why football and basketball programs, because they're the lucrative sports for the colleges, are more prone to scandal than swimming. But you know, I guess it's nice to see that collegiate swimming has remained an amateur sport and pretty ethical, right?
Knock wood, as far as we know. There's no reason to be embarrassed about the performances of the athletes in collegiate swimming. What amazes me is they continue to lower records, even though some of the top athletes go pro and therefore leave the college swimming scene. One of the issues that I noticed in the last 20 years is the adding of the 4x50 relays has enabled or actually encouraged coaches to recruit more sprinters than distance swimmers.
And what do you think of that?
Yeah, what this does is it has a rolled back effect that high school swimmers who have their choice of going from the 500 free to the 1650 or from the 500 free down to the 200, and then the 200 guys no longer swim the 200, they want to swim the 50 and the 100. You know, it pushes back the work ethic a little bit. And so I've been told that high school swimmers are less willing to do the mileage workouts that they used to be, and frankly, they're no longer being rewarded for that. We never rewarded them with on-camera time and TV shows, but now we're really emphasizing the sprint programs. And so the colleges that can produce and recruit the better sprinters have a higher chance of winning the national title than they used to.
And one of the reasons why we probably don't have American dominance in the distance events.
It's not surprising, is it?
No. Yeah. I mean, it makes complete sense, you know, the emphasis. But you would think that we'd have dominant sprinters, though, too. And we don't really. I mean, we still have great relays, but we don't by no means have the best 50 and 100 guys in the world these days.
Sure, but I should also note that many international swimmers come over on college scholarships and train at our NCAA level institutions and take that knowledge and that experience back with them to their own home programs.
Yeah, Cesar Cielo certainly did. Yeah. Back to Olympic swimming, and you know, I keep saying that this year is going to be so unique because of the wave, but you know, take me back to when you were swimming and kind of what, other than winning so many gold medals in 1976, I mean, what was the best part about being a part of the Olympic experience?
Well, I hate to bring politics into it, but at the time, in the late 1970s, there was a good guys and a bad guys. It was the Americans against the communists. And there were a lot fewer countries with a chance to win medals, and in fact, in 1976, only 4 different countries won gold medals. Only 4 different national anthems were played at the Olympic finals, and probably 75% of them were shared between the East Germans and the Americans. In the time, we had 3 athletes per event, so we could win gold, silver, bronze, and the American men did that 4 different times. And the East German women did that a few times as well. And so after those Olympics, the FINA governing body said, you know what? Let's now make it 2 athletes per event per country. And that sort of spread the wealth a little bit, but it also cheapened the value of the bronze medal, because you could conceivably be the 3rd best in the world and not be at the Olympics. And so the sport has grown. More countries are involved. And I also like to say that in the 60s and 70s, many governments weren't building swimming pools and tennis courts. They had to build freeway overpasses and sewage treatment plants. Now, society has sort of caught up a little bit, and many countries now can afford sports programs. And we are seeing that desire and work ethic and goal setting is not limited to the American way of life. It does work around the world.
You wish there was 3 swimmers per country allowed again?
I think it gives more credence to the bronze medal, but now that the wealth is so spread around, I cannot point to a single instance where the 3rd place finisher at the trials would have won bronze at the Olympics.
I could see it happening in a couple of maybe IM events, maybe with Lochte Phelps.
And
Tyler Clary, I mean,
Is Tyler Clary better than any other IMer in the world? That's the question.
You could make the argument that he's the 3rd best behind those guys.
In that case, that would be an argument that I would.
But you're right. It wouldn't apply to very many events anymore. And I think that's a good thing, that the wealth has been spread out throughout the world. Tell us about your book. I know it's not necessarily something you just penned, but it's still a fascinating read.
Unlike many great Olympic motivational speakers, I didn't overcome a broken bone at the Olympics. I didn't hit my head on anything. I didn't twist an ankle. I don't have alcoholic parents. I had no great drama in my life.
It's okay. It's still a great story.
Well, thank you. But I do know a lot of other Olympians who did. And in the late 90s, I was doing a lot of motivational speaking to corporate groups, and the audiences would come up after the 8-step gold medal speech and say, do you have a book? I didn't have one because I didn't have that kind of a story. So I contacted 27 other Olympians that I knew who did motivational speaking, and we collaborated on a book called Awaken the Olympian Within. And it's 26 chapters. 2 of the Olympians are 2 couples or married couples. And we each contributed a chapter to this book, and it's a motivational book that's available on my website or on Amazon.com. And it tells stories about what did sport teach you that enables you to be successful in the real world, life after sport. And it is overcoming obstacles. Dan Jansen fell on the ice and kept coming back. Nadia Comaneci talks about focus in order to get a perfect 10. Dick Fosbury invented a new way to jump over the high bar. And Mike Eruzione was the captain of the Miracle on Ice hockey team. All of these guys contributed their stories. And in the sport of swimming, we had Rowdy Gaines, Nancy Hogshead, and Brian Goodell contributed their stories as well. Wonderful insights into what sport taught them that enables them to be successful in life. And frankly, my speaking career is built not on how to make swimmers faster swimmers, but rather how to make people apply the lessons of sport to become better in whatever it is they do. Life insurance sales, computer design, financial markets, whatever. And if sport teaches us anything, it teaches us how to be successful in life. And if we apply those lessons, the work ethic, and we don't feel entitled to a living after we're done swimming, if we're willing to focus and set our goals and work just as hard later on, we're bound to be successful.
Do you think a lot of swimmers struggle, though, once they're out of the sport, finding what they're passionate about or what they can be financially successful at?
Well, one of the issues is that they can be so financially successful by swimming well that they don't feel they have to work as hard in anything else. I won my medals. Now I'm waiting for the opportunities to come my way, and that I think is a danger. I do know that there's enough money to support agents in the world of swimming, and as soon as a swimmer relinquishes his or her future planning or business requirements to somebody else, you handle the business deals, you negotiate the contracts. I just want to swim fast, and then the moment they're done swimming, they expect the rest of the world to lay out before them. That's a danger. So it's the swimmers who don't defer all of those decisions to management teams, the swimmers who stay involved, who want to know what's going on. I remember Dara Torres in the middle of her, I guess it was 3rd or 4th Olympics. She took the time to come back to the TV truck, to meet the producer, to meet the director, to meet the sound crew, to understand how a television show is done. That was quite a symbol. She'd already won a gold medal at the Olympics, but she said, you know what, I want to meet you, I want to get to know what's going on. And I think it helped extend her career, and certainly gave her more exposure while she was swimming, and I think it gave her the skills to be successful later on.
Yeah, if you're the guy in the back of the truck and you feel like you just met this person, you feel a connection, you might show her a few more times out in the crowd.
Sure.
Or behind the
Sure.
block.
And Summer Sanders was the same way, that she, any individual, any athlete who may or may not win gold medals, but takes the time to meet and thank the sponsors, can tell you the name of the president of the U.S. Olympic Committee, can show up a little early and sign a few more autographs, who manages their opportunities as if it was a brand, they stand to do much better later in life.
Yeah. John, it's good to talk to you.
Glad to be by.
Thank
Thrilled.
you. Thanks a lot for coming in.
You bet.
All right. And thanks for watching.